The President made his first events a week ago, but when he spoke, there was zero contrition of what sounded like an ominous warning that his supporters would be very angry if impeachment went ahead.
The impeachment hoax is a continuation of the greatest and most vicious witch hunt in the history of our country, and is causing tremendous anger and division and pain, far greater than most people will ever understand, which is very dangerous for the USA, especially at this very tender time.
Today, Airbnb announced that it was cancelling all bookings in Washington for next week. Some hotels are doing the same to stop potential rioters coming in. The capital has become the citadel.
And just another word on the
I was
security.
on mute, sorry.
Turn the news off. Turn the television off.
Oh, I know. News is never good, is it, at the moment?
No, all about Trump.
Put that in.
No Kerry yet? No.
No, don't think so. I couldn't decide if I'm early or not.
No, well, my watch is just broken today, so I don't know what time it is. Oh, we are
about
early. We're about
25.
yeah, we're about
Yeah.
5 minutes early. Yeah. You must have just turned it on.
I reckon so, yeah. Oh. Are we going to get any snow tomorrow, do we think?
I don't know. Is it forecast for tomorrow?
It is, yeah, it does look like it is.
Has it gone cold again? Because it did warm up during the day today, didn't it?
Good evening.
Very rainy, very rainy.
Oh, I've got a long sleeve
Hello.
top on. It's flipping freezing.
How's it gone?
Me too.
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you very much.
That's okay. I don't know. Like you say, I don't know how long they'll stay up. I think mine's starting to go a bit soft, but anyway.
It has got a plug in it, but you said about a spare plug. That's not got a spare plug.
I took some spare plugs to so the little tube, and there was a spare plug as well. So
Oh, right.
the
You get
little
a spare
packet
plug.
that I left with Rach, so there's a couple of spare. There's just in case they the hole changes. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. That's nice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I shall
I've
donate.
got a little bike puncture on it.
Oh, excellent.
It's been repaired already.
No, I know it's kit, isn't it? It's probably the most reliable is the roller. Evening, Catherine.
Evening.
Oh.
What do we need, Kerry, for tonight?
So if you have got a softball, so either a roller or a softball, so either one of those two, and a rolled up towel and your release ball. So you also need a roll up towel because we're going to be standing on it to instability. But I don't want you standing on the roller.
What size towel, Kerry?
I've just done a beach towel, so as long as you can get it, and the foot is completely off the floor. Yeah.
Official guidance.
Kerry,
Yes, Darren.
I've got two little rollers. Have they got to be big uns?
Well, if God, my brain today has just been shocking. So if you've got a roller, you need to be able to lie on it, or otherwise get a towel or have your softball.
Towels. All right, I'll go and get some.
Or softballs.
See you in a bit.
Okay. Evening, Catherine.
Evening.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
What does this mean?
I'm just going to draw the curtains next. I've drawn the curtains here. I can't believe how cold I've got. It's when you stop or you're concentrating on stuff and you sit for a bit, you don't realise, do you?
That might show on the court. I can be really emotional and you know, I put everything and that's as a consequence of the decisions I've made so far and the commitments that I've made so far, I guess.
Dennis began in Yorkshire, but the family relocated to Spain by the time Fran was 10. The rare syndrome she was born with means that Francesca has thumbs and 6 fingers. She was born
Who's got the news on?
Me. Right, I've got 2 towels.
Yep.
What
Are you in
else?
charge of kit tonight then?
I'm in charge of everything at this house.
Oh,
I'm not a school teacher. I'm not a school teacher.
oh, okay. How's that going?
Easy, innit?
It's all online.
Huh? I just leave her with a load to do and I just disappear.
Oh, stop showing off. She's obviously not at primary school. You have to make them sit still and get them to do something.
What? I've already said, let's go on a road trip. She don't want to go. So I thought, right, that's me trying. Right, do I need tennis balls?
Yeah, you need your release balls as well.
So towels and release balls, what else?
No, not unless you have you got long rollers or just your short ones then? Father Christmas.
We've never had no long rollers, but
Oh, did Father Christmas not bring you any?
Where were we going to buy them from?
Or
Now it's just.
if you get an option, get hold of one of those as well.
Hey, I could have got some of them this week.
You could have got some of those. You should have been quicker.
But now then, I don't need them.
Gail might have some that she'll sell to you.
I just nick them out of the cupboard. Now we ended up one of their Melanie's tidying out, and she'd got some old rollers and God knows what, so we just brought it all down here.
Oh yeah.
That's how we've got one that's got spiky on it and one that's just normal.
Oh yeah. Oh, very
Mine's
good.
normal and Vicky's having spiky.
Yes, you know.
No, I'm not, she says. So she's turned news off now. She's turned news off, it's serious.
I think Lou might, I'm not sure, but we'll get going. It's just 1:30. So we worked a bit of release last week and we're going to continue with a bit of release. Okay, so I will just mute you all.
Right. What on?
Here's
put it
Lou.
in capable hands of Victoria.
Okay. Evening, Lou. You need a roller. If you've got a roll, I think you've got a long roller, a release ball and a rolled up towel to stand on. Okay. So Lou's getting those, but we will come over. So we're going to come onto our backs and we're going to have a quick scan about where we were last week as well. So we're just continuing some of the release work. So we're coming down onto our sides actually to start off with, onto our right forearm, and we're going to get the tennis ball into the side of our hip. Okay, so bend those knees into the side of the hip and then just checking in with how the side of that hip feels. Okay, you're in soft tissue, so you're into that soft tissue, onto that right hand side, onto the right forearm, bending those knees and getting into the side of the hip. Okay, so with that ball, can be quite intense. We were up against the wall doing this one last week. We're just going to alter it a little bit. And of course, we've all been doing it through the week as well. So we're all nice and loose, aren't we? Yeah, no. Okay, 3, 2, 1. We're coming over onto our backs. We're going to come into our glute. So into that right glute. Going to place the ball towards the outer edge of the glute, in towards the rim of the outer edge of the pelvis or the hip. And we're going to keep our feet hip distance apart. So just realign your posture. And then we're going to drop that right knee out to the right hand side, keeping that foot on the floor. So you'll feel it bumping in to bony structure. Okay, so you'll feel it bumping into bone. Relax those shoulders, relax those collarbones. You might feel that the first couple are really intense and rather unpleasant. Okay, hopefully it releases off. You can hold it there. We spent some time last week holding some of these release positions. If you're getting any neural referral down the leg at all, just move the ball around a little bit, move it away from that. We've obviously we've got nerves going through there and sometimes we can bump into them. And then we're going to extend that right leg away from the body and draw it back in, bringing the knee back to the vertical. So drop the knee out to the side, lengthen the leg away from the body, draw it back in, knee comes back to the vertical. So we're just working on that right hand side. You might want to move the ball around a little bit just to change the position, or you might feel you're bumping into something and you want to go a little bit deeper into it. So it can change when you draw that leg back in as to the degree of discomfort. That's 2. And last one. Good, and bringing those knees back to hip distance apart. Okay, we're going to place that ball underneath the gap between our rib cage and our rim of our pelvis, so into our QL muscles, okay? So feet are together now and knees are together. So we're in that soft tissue and we're going to gently rock both knees over to the right-hand side. So these first couple, and bring them back to the vertical, the first couple can feel quite uncomfortable. You might again feel like you're nudging into something, so you might need to move the ball slightly. Try and draw those knees away from your chest a little bit. So you're trying to lengthen or increase the gap between your waist and your pelvis. So increasing the gap between your rib cage and your pelvis. Taking that deep inhale, top ankle is piggybacking on the bottom, keeping those inner thighs clamped together so that the top knee doesn't slide back from the bottom knee. Last couple. Good. And release off there. Okay, here comes the fun part. We're going to spend a little bit of time here into the shoulders. Oh, so we are inside the shoulder blade, dropping down below the neck muscles, below the top of the shoulder, into the shoulder blade area, in between the shoulder blade and the spine. And we're just going to start here by just taking the arms across the chest, and it's just our little caterpillar move, nudging up and down in line with the shoulder blade. So you're just bumping in, so you should feel the bony structure of the shoulder blade and then the softer structure of muscle between the shoulder blade and the spine. So you should be able to feel a bit of the shoulder blade. And we're just moving in line with it. It can be pretty intense. It can be awful, hence my sharp intake of breath when I put the ball under there initially. Especially if you've been working at a computer, you may get that little bit of neural feedback going down through your fingers, through your arm. So just nudging up and down, that initial discomfort should ease off. You can take it a little bit higher, but I want you to stay inside that shoulder blade. Or you can wriggle up and the ball will go down to the bottom part of the shoulder blade. So just tracking, just moving your bottom up and down, again, a little bit like a caterpillar. Coming into the rhomboids, trapezius muscles superficially. Okay, for 3, 2, and 1. Now you should have found a couple of areas there. You might have found more than a couple that we need to release off a little bit more. So you're going to bend your right elbow, and you've got a free rein here. You can do your open and closes, so you can do your chest press movement. You can do your overhead movement. You're aiming to keep that elbow bent because we want a shorter lever here. If you haven't got any discomfort through your this area, you can extend it and make it into a longer lever, okay? But if you it is quite intense, just stay with your shorter lever. we're aiming to move the shoulder blade around and get it to bump into the ball. So as we do these circles, you can do circle in one direction or the opposite direction. You can open and close. Oh, holy moly. Okay. Or you can go overhead and come back down towards your ribs. Or all of those movements. Okay, so you've got a free rein, as I said, to move around, just trying to get some inroads into those muscles. You can move the ball up towards the shoulder and towards nudging into the attachments of the neck muscles, into your left scap, okay, upper traps. So you choose and feel where you need that release. Is it further down? Move down again. So we are spending a little time here. We'll look at it again probably next week. We've had a couple of weeks on the bums as well. So we'll move into the shoulders a little bit tighter. A lot of stress and anxiety held within the jaw and the shoulders. Open and close, that's a really nice one. So a couple more movements here. If you are finding this shoulder really tight, there's your homework. You need to spend some time releasing that, maybe every day, just a little bit. 5 minutes will help mobilize that shoulder even further. Okay, let's come over onto the left-hand side. So we'll come onto the left shoulder first. So inside the shoulder blade, you're taking that ball and we're starting with the arms across our chest, and we're just going to move that bum up and down the mat, and the ball is going to roll down towards the base of the shoulder blade as your bum goes up the mat, and as your bum goes down the mat, your ball is going to roll up towards the neck muscles. So just tracking and just searching for those little points of discomfort, tightness, impingement. Good. And then when you've found an area that is maybe a little bit more intense than anything else, then you add your shoulder mobility. So you can open and close and do your circles or your overhead movements and down towards your ribs. So if one feels quite loose, then concentrate on the movements that are harder for you. Don't forget to breathe on this one, these. It can be so intense, especially as we haven't been there for a little while. We've probably had a couple of weeks off over Christmas. We've had these last 2 weeks here, so it could be, 4 or 5 weeks since we were, or you were maybe last into this area. So it's not going to be surprising if it is really tight. You might feel some neural work going into the back of the head and round to the front of the forehead as well. If you are getting that feedback, you can feel like your skull is being clamped too, just coming up where we've got the trapezius muscles coming into the back of the skull. You get that referral via the fascia. For 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Okay, let's drop that ball into the QL muscle. So into the small of the back on the left-hand side, in the space between the rim of your pelvis and your rib cage. Get those feet together, arms are out to the side, piggyback one leg on top of the other, and then drift both knees over to the left-hand side and return. You may need to move that ball a little bit further out towards the waist or a little bit further in towards the spine. You're not going on to any bony structure here. We do want soft tissue. Think about drawing your knees away from your body to create that space and increase the gap between your ribs and your hips. You can hold it there if you've found an area that you just think, yeah, I just need to hold that position. Take that deep inhale and deep exhale. Good. Come back to center and then move that ball down into your glute. So into your buttock on that left-hand side. Feet are back to hip distance apart. And your left knee is going to drop down towards the left-hand side. So moving that ball around a little bit, you'll feel the edge of the hip or the edge of the pelvis bumping into the ball. And then adding that leg extension, draw the leg away from the body and then draw it back in and the knees coming back to the vertical. So drop the knee out, lengthen the left leg away from the body, draw it back in, knee comes back to our starting point. So drawing that leg in and out, dropping it out to the left-hand side first before you extend the leg away from the body. Last two. Last one. Releasing those shoulders and then swing round and come up onto your left-hand side. So you're coming onto your left-hand side of the hip, stagger those knees, one leg under the other, onto that left-hand side, onto the left forearm, lift through your left shoulder and roll into your left-hand side. So a little bit more intense here than up against the wall. So if you haven't done anything during the week, then do some. For 3. Releasing around those hips. Excellent practice. 2. And 1. Okay, good. So we're going to come back up to standing. So we're going to do some balance and mobility today. I'm just going to adjust that a little bit. I'll give you, obviously, if you're carrying any underlying injuries, just be mindful of those. Okay, so we're going to start off with our stepping. We did this at the back end of last year, actually, and just get my head in a bit more. That's better. So we're going to start with loading into that left leg. We're going to step forwards. Heel goes down first, toe goes, and heel lifts on that left foot. Okay. Starting to get our balance slowly, slowly. Oh, first one's always dodgy. Transfer back and then sink that right heel into the floor. So you're working through heels and toes. Peel the right heel off. Transfer the weight into the left leg. Slowly take that right heel down to the floor, peeling the left heel off simultaneously and draw over. And back again. So transfer that weight. And the second one is sometimes a lot easier, and hopefully it does get easier. Draw as you transfer the weight back onto that right leg, draw that left toe off the floor. The left toe's off the floor, coming onto the left heel. So you're working through those feet, working through those stabilizing muscles around the pelvis, and just transferring, rocking forwards and backwards. Now, if you've got this working quite well, you can challenge your stability even more by turning your head from side to side. So as you take that leg forwards, can you move? And I can't, I'm not very good at this, but there are people who are a lot better than me. Can you move your head to the side? Okay, transferring back, loading into that left leg, taking that right leg behind, peel down through the foot, and then transfer your head to the opposite side. If you can do it while you're moving, even better. If you're really good at balance, see if you can do it with your eyes shut. I'm not going to try that because it won't work for me. Okay, so work within your capabilities, but we all have different capabilities. So but try and make the best posture that you can with what you're working with tonight. And sometimes you might have better posture or better mobility and balance on one day than you do on another. Okay, we're going to add to that. So we're going to take that foot forwards now. And when we come up, we're going to come into a scissors position on that left leg. So we're loading into that right leg. Take that leg behind us. Come back. And then take that right leg into scissors position. Okay, continue the movement behind you and then take the left leg into scissors. So it's like a high stepping movement here. Heel first, toes follow, heel up, right leg into scissors as you come forwards. Take that step, take that movement forwards onto the right leg, into your scissors with the left leg. Keeping that pelvis nice and level. Take the left leg behind you. Try and kick that left heel out. So just be mindful that when we challenge our stability, we often bring the heels in to give us a more stable position. If you do that, then try and make sure that when you're coming through the toes and the heels, your heel is in line with your toes. So just be a bit bossy with that. So try and get the work going right down through the back of the calves equally. Okay. I've lost where I am now. Take that step back. Okay. Loading into that right leg, into our scissors position on the left. Last one. So it's a slow movement working through those toes. Peeling heel first, toe, lifting off, and then coming into your scissors. Good. So we're now going to try that with our towel. We won't go through the full walk, but we are going to try and do it. Now you want to make sure that you can keep your foot on the towel. So left foot's going on the towel, okay? And it's going to challenge the ankle stability around the right leg. Sorry, around the left leg. On left and right. I'm going to adjust this again. Okay. So we're going to peel that right leg, right heel off the floor, taking that step forwards, and then move back. Well, and this is where the fun starts. And take that leg behind us. Okay, so peeling that left heel off the floor, transfer the weight forwards and high step through. We're not doing our scissors just yet. We're just slowing that movement down. That left ankle is having to work really hard to stabilize us. Okay, you can add your head turn as well. Okay. Oh, watch that heel as it plants down towards the floor. Make sure it is in line with your toes. So let's add that high knee lift as we come into our scissors. Make sure the pelvis is nice and level. Harder on that movement. Oh, and take it behind. Completely lose your balance. Okay, back to center, loading into that left leg, into your scissors. Take that step forwards. Coming back, one more set, drawing through, into scissors, leveling off that pelvis, take the step behind, transfer the weight onto that right leg. Oh, sorry, I didn't add that one. Don't take your foot off that left side. Last one here. And back. Good. And back to our starting point. Let's transfer over. So just increase the height of your roll-up towel. So we're trying to add that instability. If you've got a hedgehog at home, you can use a hedgehog, but I know that's sort of a bit more uncommon kit. So we're going to start with our step forwards. So we're into the right leg or the right side of the pelvis is doing the stabilization. We have got the heel in line with your toes on that left-hand side. We're not coming into our scissors just yet. We're peeling through those feet. So the toes come down first on the left-hand side, heel then sinks, and then change, transfer the weight through. Moving through those toes, getting that lovely mobility through the feet as we come forwards. When we come forwards, we're taking the heel off the floor on that right leg. So really getting that mobility through those toes as well. Push down through those feet. Let's add our high knee lift. So we're adding our scissors here into our scissors, stabilizing through that right leg, and then back, and add your scissors on the way back. So much harder to come, I find personally coming back so much harder. Continue that movement. Coming for a little look. Try not to use your jaws. It's really hard this, isn't it? When we were younger, we could balance like Olga Corbett. Well done, Amanda. Your feet on the, oh, well, you have got a hedgehog glue. Is it a hedgehog or a towel?
It's an ab mat. It works quite nicely.
Yeah, that looks good. You can turn it upside down if it allows a bit more rock. Yeah. Okay. And release off there. Good. Okay, so we're going to just come into some lateral flexion on our side plane. So we're going to take that right arm over to the side. Just be mindful of collapsing. Sorry, I've gone too far here. I'm not lifting up through the ribs as much as I would like you to do. And see if you can really draw the rib cage up towards the ceiling. Come back to center and lifting up through those abdominals, lifting up through that pelvic floor in those two panes of glass. Let's take that left arm over the top, and then we're going to add that slight quarter rotation, drawing the arm back down to the side and then restack. So we're just coming into that upper body. Over to the right hand side, ease round to the front, lower the arm to the thigh and restack. So it's a small movement through the upper part of the body. Good, last one on the right hand side as we come over and release off there. So we're going to come into some lateral lunges here. And we are going to take that right leg out to the left-hand side, swing over, come to center, and then change. So feet are facing forwards on this one. We're alternating from one side to the other. Hands are just across the chest to start off with, or on your hips. But try and make sure that those toes are in line with one another, especially when you're coming out to the side. We don't want any rotation or twisting of the pelvis. Okay, let's add our arm float. So we float. So we're coming into that posterior sling now. Good, into those spinal muscles. Floating those arms. It's not a reach, guys, on this one. It's an arm float. So in all these ones that I always sort of pester you about, we're not trying to shorten the distance between the tops of the shoulders and the ears. We're not reaching, no separation of the hips and ribs. It's a float. Okay, so trying to get the shoulder to move and stay within its ball and socket joint as you take it up without compromising your activity through the abs. Arms are facing inwards and in front of us. So they're coming in front of us. Body, that's it, very good. Nice coordination there, Darren and Vicky. Good. That's it. Tracking those knees over those toes. Good. Last two. Try and keep that optimal posture. Get those shoulders into the ball and socket joints. Knees track over the toes. Good. Okay. Now back onto our towel. So we're going to place it under our left foot. We're now going to be working deeper into this left hip. So we're going to just take our step out to the side with our arm float and then draw back. You can tap that right foot towards that left foot as you come back, or after a couple, if you feel like you can come to your standing position without touching the floor, then do that. Okay, now your left foot is off the floor completely, so it needs to be on that towel, on that hedgehog, or but we're challenging the stability in the ankle joint. Good. So as you come out, bending into that lunge or lateral lunge, we're working into, oh, too fast, nice and slow, harder, slow, bring down that movement. And last one. Good. Okay, so we're going to swap sides. Okay. And we're coming down to that left-hand side with our arm float, coming back. That first couple, you may need to put your foot on the floor as you draw back to your standing position. When you've got your balance, you can slow it right down. See if you can come back without taking your foot to the floor. And try not to do it with momentum. So you've actually got a second or two when you're standing on that right leg and that right leg is fully supporting you before you take that left leg out to the side. Good. For 3 and 2. Ooh, and 1. Well done. And release off there. Just swing those hips from side to side. Okay, so having your left leg on or left foot back on that mat or block or roller. Okay, again, we're after instability in the, I'm finally warming up. I've got two long layers on. So we are going to start here with our right foot out in front of us at 45 degrees. Imagine that leg is really heavy, okay, and you're going to add your little tap. You might need a finger to the wall to give you some support. If that left leg is a little bit challenged or the left hip stabilizes here, we want the knee to be lengthened, so we're not bending that knee. No bending of that right knee. It's a tap and lower. Mr. Milne, stop bending that knee. I can just see your leg coming out like that. Okay, this left hip should be grumbling. Okay, soften that left knee for 5, 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Okay, we're going to stay here. Okay, this is going to just burn a bit. So we're going to tap those toes on the floor and then flex the foot, tap the toes, flex the foot, soften that left knee. So it's the left knee, make sure that you're not locking out that left knee. We want these muscles to start burning. Okay, tap, relax those shoulders, relax the jaw. You've got a little tap of the foot and a flexion of that ankle. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release off there. Well done, everybody. You should get a nice deep burn on that left hip. If it's coming elsewhere, then there are other muscles that are trying to support those buttock muscles, but you should feel the nice burning sensation going through that left hip. Catherine's going, yes, I am. Okay, let's swap over to that right leg. So this is where the right leg's gonna, the right side of the hip is gonna have its chance or challenge. So taking the left leg out in front of us, we're going to add our little lift and lower. So we're balancing on that right leg, soften that right knee, make sure it's not locked out, leveling off the pelvis. So we want to make sure that when we lift that leg up, we're not shortening the distance between the hips and the ribs here. Pelvis stays nice and level. Drawing that pelvic floor up and in, leg is long. So no bending of that knee as it comes back down. Okay, so it's not how high we lift it, it's nice and heavy. What's really working is that right hip stabilizer. For 5, 4, 3, relax those shoulders, 2, and 1. Okay, now can we stay there and do our little flex of the foot, point, flex, tap the toes on the floor, flex the foot, tap the toes, flex the foot, tap the toes. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, oh, nearly there, and 1, and release off there. Well done. Just take that bum from side to side. Does one side feel like it's not really kicked in and it's, you know, working really well and got more endurance? Does the other side feel like it really burns when you do those exercises? They can be very different. Okay, so we're going to come into our standing on that left leg again, or left foot. And we're going to take that right leg behind us. So both elbows are bent. This is our running man. So, or this is a similar movement. And we're going to take the, tap the right leg behind, and the same arm is going to strike away. Okay, so right arm, right leg is going to draw away. The left arm is bent. You can keep both arms bent if you wish, or you can lengthen them to create that more of a strike. Okay. So we're loading into that left leg, left hip, activating through the abdominals, but the right arm, right leg are going away simultaneously. So they're drawing away from each other simultaneously. Good. For 5, 4, you're just tapping that back leg. There's no transfer of weight on that left foot. Okay, so there's no transfer of weight, sorry, on that right leg. We are keeping that left-hand side really stable. 2, good, and 1, and release off there. Excellent, okay. So we're going back to that left side again. And this is where we're going to do our running man. So both elbows are bent. It's been might have been a couple of months since we did this. We're going to start with our sort of stamp. I'm going to come onto the carpet because I'm too grippy on the floor or on the mat. And my right foot is going to stroke the floor. So I'm coming into this sort of high kicking. It always reminds me of a horse just pawing the ground, okay? Now, when we add the arms, the opposite arm and opposite leg go together. So it's that here, okay? So as we do that, you'll find your hips want to move. So we're striking through with the arms and we're pawing the floor with our right foot. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you almost stop the movement. So it's if you did this like exaggerated running movement here, so that's your arm movement, and it works with when the right leg goes behind, your left elbow is your right arm and your right leg go together, okay? And your left arm is opposite as you go, okay? It's quite tricky to get that going, but once you feel like you've got it going, I think Darren's got it there. That's it. Good. Okay, let's swap sides. So we are starting with our strikes. Okay, so we're onto that right leg. Left leg is going to be tapping behind. So we're taking that left leg behind and we are doing our strike. So tap behind and, sorry, I've got the same one here. So the right arm, right leg are coming back away from the body together, okay? So right arm, right leg come away together. The left arm is coming back with the right leg, okay? And then strike back. So it's a tap. We are working dynamically, so that means there's more of a demand for the abdominals to stay nice and stable. So you're trying to keep that upper body nice and stable. We are slicing through, so try not to use momentum of the arms. Try and get that. So both arms, hang on, Catherine. So here, they're both going to move. So you're slicing both arms, but you're tying that in with the leg movement as well. So here, and then slice. Okay, so both arms are going to move. That's it. 5 and 4, well done, Amanda. 3, keep that upper body nice and stable though. So try not to rock through the upper body. If I show you head on, then we are, hang on, here. So it's keeping that upper body facing forwards, nice and strong. 2, try not to step back into it, Lou. So don't transfer the weight on that back leg. It is just a tap, literally a tap. Well done. Okay, so coming into our horse paw. Okay, so try and start with your horse paw first. So you're tapping down, and again, I'm going to have to come onto the carpet. Come here. So you're drawing that foot, pouring as if you're pouring at the floor. Okay, so you're pouring at the floor to start off with. Okay, now your arm movements are bent, and it's that accentuated running arm movement here. Okay, and then you're going to add the two together. So when we come, that knee comes up, we pour down and change, pour and change, pour and change. Try and keep that upper body nice and stable. You might find that one side is a whole lot harder than the other. You might find that you're rotating a little bit more. Try and squeeze into those pelvic floor muscles. Good. 3, 2, and 1. And release off there. Well done. It's quite hard to do getting arms and legs going at the same time. It's a mental challenge, especially at this time of the evening. Okay, so we've done our strokes. We're going to come onto our backs now. So this is where you either need your softball or your roller. If you haven't got either, you're going to place your towel underneath your bottom. Or you can use you could use your short roller a little bit, guys. You can place that under your bum. If you've got your long roller, you're going to lie on it, okay? So if you've got your long roller, you're going to lie on it. Otherwise, the softball. I'm going to use the softball because we haven't been on that for a while. So we're coming onto our backs. We're going to either lie on the roller, make sure the head and bum are fully supported. If you're on the short roller, Darren and Vic, just put that across your bum. So have it under your bum like you would the softball. Okay. So feet are hip distance apart. If you are on the short roller or the softball, the arms are going up towards the ceiling. Otherwise, your hands are staying on the floor just for the time being. I'm going to start with our scissors. So our right leg's coming up into tabletop, lower back down, change, left leg comes into tabletop, lower back down and change. So we're just alternating from one side to the other. If you're on the roller, you'll need your elbows onto the floor or at least one forearm. So we're just making sure that the knee goes vertical of the hip. We've got a nice right angle between the calf and the thigh. Good, the neck is fully supported if you're lying lengthways on the roller. And we're alternating from one side to the other. You should feel a space. If you're lying on the roller, you should feel a space between your lower back and the roller. Okay, 3 and 2. So if you're on the ball or the short roller, you're here, and 1. Okay, we're taking that right leg into tabletop. And we're going to draw some circles here. So imagine you've got a plate, a dinner plate above your knee, and you're going to trace the outline of that dinner plate. Now, this can be either direction. You need some contraction of the pelvic floor and the abdominals. And you also need to make sure that that left knee isn't moving. So it's really bossy. So you might not even make dinner plate size. You might just make saucer size. And that's absolutely fine. Relax those shoulder blades into the mat. Your left shoulder blade might be wanting to lift off the floor. Can we change direction? We're aiming for a circle, but it might be something else. Okay, but think circle. 5, 4, working into those hip flexors. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay, lower that right foot to the floor, reset the posture, feet hip distance apart, and then bring that left leg into tabletop. Either hands off the floor if you're on your, if you're on your full roller, you can try it with your arms off if you wish, or one arm up in the air, see how you go. But no injury. So listen to your own capabilities and be mindful of your own capabilities. Challenge yourself a little, but don't risk injury. We're drawing a circle with that left knee. The right shoulder blade is on the floor. It might have lifted up. The right knee is nice and stable. Your left foot is hiding behind your left knee. Can you go in the opposite direction? Try not to move that right foot. It's planting and keep it nice and stable for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Okay, drop those feet to the floor. So we're going to come up into our hip twist 3. The right knee's coming up towards our tabletop position. We're drawing the right knee out towards the side, the right side, and then back in again. So out towards the side, that pelvis stays nice and level. You can try this with, if you're on the long roller or lying on the roller, you can maybe try it with one arm in the air, see how you go. But if you end up too wobbly, or you're gripping your teeth, or it's compromising the knee going out, and the left knee cheating and just watch that left knee. You're not going too far on this one. Make sure you relax those toes. There's some toe gripping and yeah, toe gripping. Watch those toes, everybody. You're tensing toes and and ankles. Okay. Good. Okay, make sure that upper body's nice and stable. Ooh, okay. And release off there. Okay, swap over. So left knee's coming into tabletop. The left ankle goes out with the left knee. So the left ankle doesn't stay in to help balance you. It goes out equally. So I can only just get, if I'm doing this really well, I'm being really mindful of what my pelvis is doing, I can probably get my leg out maybe about 3 inches off my midline, maybe 4. Okay, so really be bossy with your posture. It's not how far we go. It's the quality of the movement. Make the movement as smooth as you can as well. So as your muscles and your neural pathways improve, the movement becomes smoother. It becomes less jerky. And it might not be tonight. It might be over a period of time. Years. I'm still working on mine. The 3 and 2. Make sure that rib cage isn't doming up towards the ceiling. You've got it tucked in. The breastbone is soft. The abs are connected. Third 2 and 1 and release off there. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to come into our dead bug series. So we're going to take that right leg up into tabletop. Now the left foot is firmly planted on the floor. If you're lengthways on the roller, okay, you're going to put your right arm on the floor. Okay, so right arm's going to go on the floor. If you're on the short roller or your ball, both arms are up towards the ceiling. We're going to float the right leg and the left arm away from us and then draw back in. So exhale, float, inhale, return. Exhale, float, inhale, return. If you're on the short roller or the ball, you might want to come into double tabletop. So here you might have both arms and both legs off the floor, contracting through those abdominals, opposite arm. So just working your right leg and your left arm. It's a float. Breathe as you exhale, taking the leg away, inhale and return. If you're coming into your double float, your double tabletop, your calf pretty much extends in line with your left foot. Try and keep those abdominals connected. If you're lying on the roller, you've got your right arm on the floor. And if you feel like it, you could come into double tabletop. So you could have your legs in double tabletop. But if you've got any back conditions or you're uncomfortable, so no pressure on that lower back, no, you take those legs higher, you're causing too much extension in your back. So keep one foot on the floor. That's it. So don't try and put that foot to the floor. Okay, you're trying to clamp between your hips and your ribs. At the moment, your arms and legs are going too far away. You're losing your center. Okay, so when that leg extends, it just lengthens out. Let me show you on the roller here. Your leg is higher. So you're here, leg up, arm up, and you're taking that leg away. You're not trying to touch the floor with your arm. The ribs and the hips here remain as if they've got sticky tape on them. So they're not separating at all. And you want a lot of activity through your pelvic floor. Otherwise, you'll put too much strain on your back. Okay, and this goes for everybody. It's a tight move on this one. When that leg extends, the thighs come alongside each other. Okay, we're not going low. It increases the risk of extension into that lower back. So we stay in line. Okay, 2 more. Last one. And release off there. Okay, let's swap sides. So if you're on the roller, left arm on the floor, left leg into tabletop, right arm is floating. If you're really confident with this, and I don't know if anyone is in the class for more advanced position here, you'd be into that position, okay? But otherwise, keep your right leg on the floor, extend that leg away, extend the arm away. The left thigh stays in line with the right thigh as you extend that leg away, okay? So if you're on the roller here, just make sure that your blueberry underneath your lower back does not have any more space when you extend leg and arm away than it did when you were at your starting point. So it is imperative here when we take leg and arm away that the center doesn't change position. We're tightening up those stomach muscles If you're on your ball, you're here. Okay, if you want that extra challenge, it's easier on the ball, but still challenging. The right arm stays in the ball and socket joint. It doesn't come out. It doesn't reach. It floats. For 3 and 2 and 1. Good. And release off there. Excellent. Okay, roll off the ball, roll off the roller. Good. Rolling over onto our all fours position. Okay. So just clear the area around you so you're not going to hit anything. And we're going to extend that left leg behind us, and we're going to float our right arm. We're going to hover, lift and lower. So floating that right arm, lift and lower. Again, this is challenging our stability. We want some activity in that left buttock. Make sure you're not reaching. The palm stays facing inwards. We want to make sure that as we lift that leg off the floor, the back stays in its neutral position. Good. Nicely done. That's better. Beautiful. Good. Nice, smooth, steady movements. Okay. A little bit harder here now. So we float and then we move away from the midline of the body. The left leg comes out to the left-hand side, the right arm comes to the right-hand side, and then draw back in. And again, out to the side, draw back in. Feel those abdominals working really hard to draw you back to center and stabilize you as you come away from that midline. Trying to keep that imaginary tray of drinks on your back as you rotate. Oh, last 2. Slow it down. Last 1. Good. And release off there. Okay, let's extend that right leg. And we're going to just add our lift and our lowers. So really squeezing into that right buttock now, floating the left arm, right leg, drawing through that right shoulder, making sure the breastbone is away from the mat. Good, adding that lift and lower, noting the difference between the 2 slings, the opposite sides. 3 and 2 and 1, hold it there, draw out. So left arm comes out to the left-hand side. Try and keep that left ankle on the floor. Right leg goes out to the side. Can we keep it nice and level? Good. As you come out, do you find you wobble a little bit more on one side than you did on the other? Can we do it for 3? Going back. And 2. Keep those deep neck flexors working. Lift out through that shoulder. Last 1. Good. And release off there. Well done. Come into your puppy. So take those arms away. Drop the chest towards the floor. Just come into extension into that upper back. Keeping the bum nice and high, but allowing the breastbone to lengthen. If you've got any shoulder issues, you might want to keep your forearms on the floor. So you might want to just keep those forearms on the floor, but gently nudge the breastbone down towards the mat to see if you can get that little bit of extension into the upper thoracic. 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay, so we're just going to finish on pigeon. Lou, you'll want to go on your back for your piriformis stretch. Okay, so any knee issues, come onto your back and you'll take one knee. I'll show you the movement you're going to do, but otherwise coming into pigeon. So that right knee's coming up towards that right hand. we're going to lengthen that left leg away, down onto our forearms. If that feels okay, then reach those arms away from the body, working deep into that right buttock. If your knees don't like that, your right ankle is crossed over your left knee and you're hugging your left thigh, just gently pushing out through that right knee. You try and get a nice right angle. That's the ideal. The reality is often completely different. Okay, hold that position in your pigeon or your piriform stretch on your back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Place those hands underneath the shoulders and swap over. You can come into that position via downward dog if you wish to, and then draw that left knee to your left hand, lengthening that right leg away, dropping into that left hip. Changing sides if you're on your backs doing your piriform stretch, and swap over as well. First your forearms, and then take those fingertips all the way or as far as you can. Going deep into that left hip. Taking that breath in. 3, 2, and 1. Place those hands underneath. Good. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, good timing. Okay, so come onto your all fours. Going to come into our downward dog. So we're all coming into our downward dog now, into our posterior sling. Lifting up through the abdominals, just getting that little connection through that pelvic floor and gently nudging the breastbone towards those toes. So we're not trying to put the heels on the floor here, but we are trying to nudge the breastbone towards those toes. Can we draw it closer? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go walk those feet to the hands. Just hang there for a moment. Soften those knees if you need to, but just see if you can keep those hands on the floor. Then soften the knees a bit more and push the bum up towards the ceiling. And again, softening those knees and lengthen through the back of the knees as you lengthen the bum towards the ceiling. Lifting that pelvic floor again, getting that lovely movement through the spine, through the back of our hamstrings. So you might be further out here, you might be further away from your feet. Just softening those knees and pushing them out gently. Okay. Soften the knees more, bring the weight over your pelvis and slowly restack. Drawing up through the crown of the head, roll those shoulders, interlace those hands behind your bum. Draw the shoulder blades in towards each other, open up the collarbones at the front. Draw those arms away if that feels okay for you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And release off there. Well done, everybody. Oh. I'll pause the record.